Hi, I'm Susan Rutledge, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful roses in Adobe Illustrator 2026. I'm using version 30.1. This is super simple to do. We're going to use a couple of different special effects that allow you to tweak the rose to create multiple different styles, any color, any shape that you want for your projects. So let me move over to the layers panel. I'm going to hide this layer and we'll get started. I'll grab the ellipse tool on the left toolbar, keyboard shortcut L, and click on the artboard, and I'll type in 5 inches, tab down, type 5 inches, and say OK. I'm going to get the eyedropper tool. It's right over here on the left toolbar as well, keyboard shortcut I, and I'll click on this light pink color to fill my ellipse. Now what I want to do is use a gradient. So I'm going to come to the left toolbar and double click on the gradient tool to open it up. I want the light pink to be to the outside of the circle and the darker pink, which is going to be this color right here, to be in the center. So we'll first click right underneath the left corner, and I'm going to leave this with the light pink, and then I'll click on this color tab here, and I'll grab the eyedropper tool here and click on this darker pink. Now instead of the linear gradient, I want to choose the radial gradient. So I'll click on this center icon, and that moves the light to the center and the dark to the outside. And remember, I said I wanted that reversed, so I'll click here to reverse the gradient. And then I'm going to move this little slider because I want the dark to be almost all the way to the edge. You can see where I'm placing it, and you can adjust this later on even after you've made your rose, depending on the shading that you want. One other thing that I'm going to change, if you've got the version 30.1, you're going to have an option to change from classic to perceptual, and that gives a smoother transition between the colors here, and close the gradient. Next, I'm going to make another circle. So I'll grab the ellipse tool, click on the artboard, and type in 0.2, tab down 0.2, and say OK. I'll drag the little circle on top of the big circle, select them both, move over to the Properties panel, and I'm going to click on Horizontal Align Center and then Vertical Align Center. Now with both of these selected, I'll go up to Object and then down to Blend. And I'm going to choose Blend Options. I can leave this on Smooth Color, or I can come down and choose Specified Steps, which is what I want to do. Now I'm going to type in 30 here, and this is going to be a number you can play around with based upon the size of the rose and the number of petals that you want. But for now, we're going to see what 30 looks like, and I'll say OK. Nothing happened because we were just setting the options. Now we've got to go back to Object, back down to Blend, and this time choose Make. And we see a lot of little circles that have been created by Illustrator. Then I'm going to go up to Effect, down to Distort and Transform, over and down to Tweak. And right away, as Tweak opens up, you see the beginnings of a beautiful flower. And I can play around with the horizontal and vertical sliders to get a totally different look and try to keep them pretty close to the same values. Now, I don't care for the shape of the rose petals when we get much beyond 10%. Just wanted you to see what it looks like when you get larger. So I'm going to move back, change this back to 10 and 10. And notice I'm leaving relative checked, because if I check absolute, we don't have really very much variation at all. So let's go back to relative and say OK. Now, when you get to this point, you may decide you want a little more of that deeper pink in your rose. And to do that, you'll come back over to the gradient tool, double click it to open this up. And we're going to grab this little gradient slider and drag it to bring the dark further over against this light pink. And you see the difference here if we go lighter or if we go darker. And I really like the center of the rose as we get a little bit darker. So I'm going to leave it there and say okay. Now, once you have the rose the way you want it, I'm going to show you what I do because I really just like this center part of the rose. As it gets larger, it doesn't look as authentic to me. So I'm going to select the rose and go up to Object and click on Expand Appearance. And then I'm going to ungroup all of these different little pieces. So Object, Ungroup, or Shift Command G. And then I'm going to just hover over these outer petals and I'm going to delete them. And if you still have some that you don't care for, you can select one at a time and delete those. Or let's undo that move, Command Z. I can grab the direct selection tool and click on one of the points and drag the little widget to smooth that out. I actually think I want to remove this last outside petal here, so I'll go back and get the selection tool and delete that one as well. Now that's looking really nice, but I have one more step that I think is going to just be the icing on the cake. So I'll select my flower again. I'm going to go back up to Effect, down to Distort and Transform, and this time I'm going to go to Roughen. Now that doesn't look very good right now, but let's make some changes. I'm going to leave the size at 5%, but I want the detail all the way down to 2, and I'm going to change the points to smooth and say okay, and that just makes all the difference in the world to me. Now, if that's too much for you, you can select the flower again. This time, instead of going up to Effect and choosing Distort and Transform and Roughen, you need to come over to the Properties panel because you're going to edit the Roughen rather than adding Roughen on top of Roughen. So I'll click on Roughen and that opens it up, and I can change the size. Let's go down to 4% and maybe even, let's see what a 1 looks like and say okay. And that looks nice as well. I think I like the other one better though, so let's just come up to Edit, Undo, Roughen, and leave it at 5% and 2 and say okay. And here is our final rose. And if you want to increase the size, just grab hold of a corner, hold down the Shift and the Command key and drag it out. And there you have a beautiful rose ready to add to any project. Well, I do hope that you've enjoyed this video and that I've sparked your creativity and you'll begin creating beautiful roses for your projects. Before you go, I do want to invite you to subscribe to my channel and to click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future tutorials, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye now.